Hello everyone. Welcome to the Quarantine School. This is the very first lecture of commerce, to be precise, the very first lecture of business studies. The chapter which today I'm going to cover is Nature and Significance of Management. This chapter gives you a very brief introduction about what is management, what are the characteristics of management, what are the importance of management. This chapter is very much essential for understanding how organizations function. Without any delay, let's get started. And if this window pops up somewhere, please ignore it. Okay. So the very first slide, nature and significance of management. Now, what is management? The guiding activity performed at all the type of institutions for achievement of the organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner. So, let us break this thing. The guiding activity, this means that management is totally a guiding activity. It is performed at all the types of institutions or organizations, be it a trading organization, be it a consulting organization. Everywhere, management has to take place in order to help the organization achieve its respective goal. I hope this is clear to you. Now, management as a function is performed by people called as managers. You can see I highlighted this purple color. Okay, so this means that the people who perform the task of management in an organization are called as managers. Moving on to the next slide, effectiveness. Can you imagine what effectiveness might be? Okay, let me make it clear to you. Effectiveness means ability to complete a work within a given deadline or within a specified period of time. So this is what in the first point it is mentioned, that being effective refers to being able to complete or achieve any goal on time. Let's take a simple example. Let's take a production department of a particular organization. The production department completing its target of production of specific units of goods within its deadline, which means if it is producing the required number of units of goods within its deadline, this means that the production department is surely an effective department. So please remember, effectiveness is always related to time. The better it is able to manage time, the higher effective the organization would be. Moving on to the next slide, efficiency. Now, efficiency is not related to time, but however, it refers to use of minimum inputs for the production purpose. So, being efficient refers to being able to complete the goal or target with the minimum possible resources or inputs. Example, let's take the same production department example. Let's say that the production department is able to complete a target of 200 units of any particular good within not a time period, not specifying time period here. So it is completing the target with the minimum inputs. So in this case, the production department is surely an efficient department. Now, let us understand the relationship between effectiveness and efficiency. So till now, in the slide number 3 and slide number 4, we discussed what is effectiveness and efficiency. Now let us correlate what both of them mean. A business organization finds it very easy to be either one of the both, either be effective or be efficient. It is an easy task for the business organization to be either efficient or effective. But an organization's success rate would go higher if there's a balance maintained between effectiveness and its efficiency. So what does this mean? This means that the organization will have a higher chance of earning profits or maximizing profits if it is able to complete its delegated task within the specified period of time along with minimum use of inputs. So, taking the same example, production department completing its target of production of specified unit of goods not only within its specified deadline, but also with the minimum of the input resources. So, this shows a perfect balance between effectiveness and efficiency. Moving on to the next slide. Now, here we enter into hardcore management. Characteristics of management. Management is a goal-oriented process. Now, let me tell you how is it a goal-oriented process. Management comprises of a team of people called as managers, as we learned above. Now, what is the purpose of these managers? These managers' purpose is to help the organization thrive, that is, maximize the profits of the organization. So, management is not there idly sitting. It has to work continuously and able to achieve the goal. So, this clarifies the very first point. Management is a goal oriented process. Second point, management is pervasive. Now, what do you mean by pervasive? Pervasive means that it is accomplished at all the levels. In case of the organization, we will divide it into top level management, middle level management, and lower level management. Now, it is not that management is required only at the top level, but not at the lower level. Pervasive means that management is equally plays a role at all the levels of organization. Although the quantum of management can be different at all the levels, but however, it plays a very important role in all the levels of the organization. Moving on to the third point, management is a continuous activity. Let us take an example. Miss Rita is the general manager of XYZ Limited, and she is a top level manager. So it is not that she will make any decision regarding sales today and not tomorrow or day after tomorrow. If this happens, then the organization's end is soon near. So, management is a continuous activity. Miss Rita, the example which we took earlier, she would have to continuously ponder about her managerial activities and do those activities in a continuous manner to let the organization continue its journey. So, moving on to the fourth point, management is a group game. There are several levels of manager in an organization. There's not only a single manager, there are many managers. So, this clearly specifies our fourth point, management is a group game. The entire group plays together, basically plays the role together, all the levels, and hence the organization is able to achieve its goals. This point is interlinked with the first point, that is management is a goal oriented process. Moving on to the fifth point, management is an intangible force. Now, what does intangible mean? Intangible means anything which you cannot physically touch or see. It can just be felt. So, management in an organization cannot be physically seen or touched, but however, it can be expressed or felt by the way an organization functions. I hope this is clear. Now, moving on to the sixth point, management is a dynamic function. Now, what is dynamic? Dynamic means ability to adapt to the external environment. It is not that consumers preference what today is what might be tomorrow also. Consumers preference changes as quickly as possible. So if a business organization decides that it will ignore the business environment and function as it is functioning right now, then similarly soon is the end of the business. So a business has to adopt to the requirements of the business environment, particularly the consumers. As the consumers preference change, they have to keep making modifications in their products. So this tells that management is a dynamic function. Management focuses upon adapting to the changes taking place in the business environment. Now, last point, management is multidimensional. You might have observed that why this point is highlighted, because the explanation of this point goes to the next slide. Meaning of multidimensional. Multidimensional means having multiple dimensions. Now, this can particularly be broken into three main dimensions: management of work, management of operations, and management of people. So, the very first dimension is telling that management helps in breaking down work in terms of preparation of budgets, deciding the plans to be drafted, delegation of authorities, accomplishment of responsibilities. All these are related to work, and hence management of work is the very first dimension. Second, management of operations. Every business organization is established for the purpose of accomplishing some operations. Let us take it in a layman language, like conversion of inputs into outputs is called as operations. So management has to take care of this thing also. Now, moving on to the third dimension, management of people. In a management team, there are several number of people. So it is the responsibility of the managers or the management to consider the people in both situations. Firstly, as diversified individuals who are present in the organization for accomplishment of their personal goals, such as development, salaries, incentives, and sometimes also as a group or team of people available in the hands of management to make them help the organization to achieve its goals. So these are the three dimensions. Number one, management of work. Number two, management of operations. And number three, management of people. Hope this is clear. Moving on to the next slide. Objectives of management. There are three types of objectives. Firstly, we are talking about organizations' objectives. Now, organizations objectives refers to the go objectives that the organization has towards different stakeholders. Now, what are stakeholders? Stakeholders are the people who have interest in a business. In this case, normally every businesses has these three categories of stakeholders. Very firstly, talking about investors. The businesses should take care of the fact that investors, the people who have invested in their business, so they have responsibility towards generating a good return on investment. So responsibility towards investors falls in the first block. Second, customers. Now, customers are the main people because of which the business runs. These are the people who obtain the services or goods in return for the cash which they provide to the business organization. So these are on the second block. And thirdly, responsibility towards employees. Businesses should take care of the individual goals of the employees. It should try in keeping a balance between harmony of the individuals and organization achieving its goal. Next slide. Important objectives of organization. Okay. Now we discussed about organization objectives. These can be further divided into survival, profit, and growth. In this slide, we are talking about survival and profit. So, survival. Survival refers to accomplishment of all the activities which has to be done in order for the business to stick in the heavy competition market. So, every activity which business has to perform in order to compete with all its competitors in the market is called a survival. In order to survive in the heavy competition market, business must be able to earn revenue. Now, what is revenue? The amount generated from the regular activities of any type of business is called as revenue. In this case, in order to survive, the business organization must be able to earn enough revenue to cover its cost of production and other direct expenses incurred, for example, the cost of manufacturing or the transportation cost in bringing the product to the market. The business must have enough money in its hand to be able to pay for all these. So this is the survival. Now, moving on to profits. Profit refers to all those activities to be performed by businesses in order to cover the cost and risk of businesses. So this means that here the business must not only be able to cover its cost, but also the risk of the businesses. Also, another positive thinking about earning profits is it acts as an incentive to the entrepreneur for continuing the successful activities of the business. Matlab, it would be a driving force for the entrepreneur so that he could continue his business on and on. Talking about the last objective, which is growth. Now, if a business is able to survive and earn profits, then surely it can grow if the entrepreneur takes enough hard work in his hands. So, just surviving and earning profits is not sufficient for a business to become the market leader. What is market leader? This is a company or an organization which has the largest market capitalization in its industry. So, in order to become a market leader, surviving and earning profits is not sufficient. It has to add something in its growth prospects. So, growth can be symbolized by various other factors in an organization, like increase in the number of employees, increase in the production capacity, or increase in the volume of sales. There can be many other factors also, but these three are the main factors symbolizing growth in an organization. Now, first objectives, we completely covered it. What we did, organization objective. For a summary of the organization objective, organization has responsibility towards investors, customers, and its employees. And also, survival is important, profit is important, and growth is important. So this covers our objective number one, organization objective. Moving on to the next objective, this is the personal objectives. Now, personal objectives refer to the responsibilities of the organization towards its employees. The employees, you only think, would be willing to work hard if they're getting their efficient pay at the particular period of time when it is guaranteed. Employee turnover would be less only if the employees see a scope of growth in the organization. Now, what is employee turnover? Let me give you a brief thing. Employee turnover refers to the number of employees leaving an organization for a particular period of time. In most of the cases, employee turnover occurs due to dissatisfaction amongst the employees. One of the major reasons is pay scale. So, a committed and loyal workforce can be prepared by A, raising the pay scale of the employees so that it increases their buying capacity in an economy. Number two, recognition amongst the peers. Obviously, a person would enjoy if he is given some motivation in front of his co-mates. This would make him feel good and make him stay in the organization. Number three, providing opportunities for personal growth and development. This means that the business should provide him with adequate opportunities his like his development in the organization through promotions. Promotion gives him a higher post and a higher salary. It would provide him with the motivation to take responsibilities more seriously. So moving on to the next slide. Social objectives. So we have discussed two types of objectives. Number one, we have seen the organization objectives, that is the organization's interest towards investors, customers, and employees, and focusing upon survival, profit, and growth. And we have also discussed about the personal objectives. Now, moving on to the last category of objectives, it is social objectives. So social objectives refers to the responsibility of the organization towards the society and its people. It is a very critical responsibility that the organization has to pay importance. Since society plays a very important role in helping the organization achieve its goal of maximizing the profits, so it must take care of the society. Some of the ways by which organization can take can help the society is: number one, use of eco-friendly means of production; number two, providing employment to the people of the society; and number three, ensuring the ecological balance is maintained. Now, a society helps in providing several resources to the organization, be it monetary or non monetary. It supplies it with the adequate labor, it supplies it with the natural resources, which are converted by these organizations for their business processes. So, what at least a business organization can do is use of eco-friendly means of production, so that environment where the society lives or the people live are not harmed by the processes of the business. And providing employment to the people of the society, businesses should take care of the needs of the people of the society. They should employ the people with the required skills so that it could increase their buying capacity. And number three, ensuring the ecological balance is maintained. Practice in a particular way or in an eco-friendly manner such that the ecological balance is maintained. I hope this is clear. The third point, an organization should pay utmost importance in fulfilling the responsibilities towards the society, because a business depends upon a society for many purposes. As stated before, several purposes like provision of several of the equipments, machinery, or raw materials by the society to the business organization, and providing labor by the society to the business organization. And hence, social objectives forms one of the most critical objectives of the business organization. Now, let me tell you the importance of management. Till now, we have discussed what was management, what are the characteristics of management, objectives or the responsibilities of the organization towards different of the segments of the society, towards different stakeholders. Now we would be discussing importance of management. Here I have classified in my presentation it into 5 points. I would discuss these 5 points in detail with you right now. So the very first point, management helps in achieving group goals. So a management takes place in all the departments of the business organization, and hence it helps in combining the group efforts and helps the business in achieving its goal of profit maximization. Thus, it helps in achieving group goals. Moving on to the second point, management increases efficiency. As we discussed in the third slide of our PowerPoint presentation, that efficiency means ability to accomplish the goal with the minimum inputs. Management trains its members to be able to generate the maximum outputs with the minimum inputs, and hence management increases efficiency of the business. Moving on to the third point, management creates a dynamic organization. This point was also discussed by us briefly in the earlier slides, that dynamic organization is one which takes care of the changing preferences of customers or any of the changes in the business environment, and hence adapts to the changes. So management trains its members to understand the needs of the customers, make demand analysis and understand the demand, and accordingly make modifications in their existing products. The fourth point, management helps in accomplishment of personal objectives. Now, management sees itself or its members as diverse individuals sometimes, and it has to take care of the workforce by providing them recognition amongst their peers, by providing them incentives, salaries, and perks. This would help in building a committed and loyal workforce to the business organization. The last point, management creates a better society to live. If a business organization works in a very great manner, not only focusing upon the welfare of the entrepreneur or the owner, but also on the welfare of the ecological balance or the economy and the environment, then it obviously creates a better society to live. I hope all these 5 points are clear to you. Now, nature of management. Here in this slide, nature of management will be discussed in brief. So this deals with the evolution of management over time. The earliest management practices were a set of rules and guidelines defined by the experience of governmental and commercial activities. Earlier, there were not any management books or literature by which management could be learned. There were experiences with the useful people used to share with other people in order for getting acquainted with what is management. So, number two, the study of management has evolved over a period of time along with the modern organizations based both on experience and practice of managers and a set of theoretical relationships. Slowly by slowly, as the businesses started evolving, new techniques of conducting business came into recognition, the study of management also evolved. From the word of mouth, it just got its place into several of the literature books on management, where these rules and principles were written by those who had themselves worked in different fields of the management or businesses throughout their career. So, in this lecture number one of nature and significance of management, we have covered till the nature of management. Now, in the very next lecture, I would be explaining you the relationship between management as an art, management as a science, management as a profession, and a little bit of the further topics. So, hope to see you soon in our upcoming videos. Till then, learn, because if learning stops, earning stops. Thank you.